So I'm going to start with a few words on just collaborative displays in general, since that's what we're talking about. And I'm going to share my screen and put up some boring text instead of the interesting Lego in my background. So collaborative displays, that's what this is all about. And the first question is, why should you have a collaborative display? I mean, there's some downsides. You don't get to do all the stuff the way you want all the time. But, really, you might just not have enough pieces to build something on the really impressive scale that you're hoping for. Although I've seen a few collections yesterday that, yes, these people have enough bricks to build anything. I thought I had a lot, but no. And then, many of us have jobs and things like that that take up our time. So, you just don't have enough time, even if you get that scale, to fill in the scale with detail. We want to have something there for people to see. And finally, maybe we don't have all the skill sets we need to build every part of something really interesting and unique. Maybe we can't mechanize things that ought to move. Maybe we're just not as good on the colors as some other people. Like, in my case, my wife continuously reminds me when I build something, she looks at it and then just kind of looks at me and says, Eric, how on earth did you think that it ought to be made in those colors? And damn it, she's right. She's right. Okay, so what does it take to make a collaborative display? Well, first you need a group of people, like-minded people who are interested in building something to start with and building the same theme. And then finally, secondly, is the question, is it going to be a single unified display that locks together or pegs together one way or another? Or is it going to be separate displays that are part of a single theme? And then finally, what is the story that your display is telling? What's the story? That's what people are there to see. All right, critical mass of builders. Well, I mean, maybe it's your family and friends. Maybe it's your local LUG, which may not in fact be meeting at the moment, or an online collaboration. And for those of you who saw it this morning, Steve Jackson gave a very nice talk on the kind of the nuts and bolts about how to create and manage long distance collaboration. So here's a big question, and this is one that we faced, is that is it going to be unified? In other words, does the display sit next to each other, each piece next to the other one, and link together? And then you're going to have like a set of standards. How do they link together? And things like, you have to have the same scale. Is it going to be minifigs? Is it going to be micro or mini land? What size of base plates are you going to put together? And is it 48 by 48 or 32 by 32? How do they link together? Are you going to use something like a mill standard to link them together? Do you have other restrictions, like what set of, do you have a color palette you want to use for your display? And then maybe you have unifying items that get spread around the display, a given type of vehicle or signs or something that when someone looks at it, they say, oh, this is, like one I saw was someone in Indiana had built this enormous M-Tron unified collaborative display, and it had colors and vehicles that were common piece to piece, or segment to segment. But then if the display is not going to physically link together, the individual mocks should fit in a common theme. So then you want a story. I mean, that's what people are here to see. There's several different categories of stories that builders often work with, and a big one is an existing story. So like IP, for instance, if you build a large Star Wars display, everybody's going to come in. They already know half the story. You're just, the stage is being set. You just have to turn on the lights and roll the cameras and then add your bit of the story. A second one, I think this is really common with Lego displays, is particularly I've seen this with Town and Train collaborative displays. They add, they have essentially an Easter egg hunt. Each individual builder puts some part of themselves, puts some little joke, some clever little amusing scene that it surprises people, and kids love this stuff. I just really enjoy watching kids walk around. Oh, look there's that character, who somehow crept into a Town and Train display from who knows where. And then finally you can write your own story, and this is hard. I mean, there's a reason why it's hard to write stuff. So you might have to build a common set of minifigures that you see at point A, point B, point C, and then you might want to put plaques up that tell what's going on at some point. Bringing people into an entirely new story is a difficult one. It's good to have movement there, particularly for a new story, but really for anything, it captures people's eyes. So then, I'm just going to ask people here. Have any of you out there been part of a collaborative display or had a collaborative display that you saw that really captured your imagination? We got a few minutes before we roll the video. We're going to do a video of the one we did. Just, have any of you done this before?
Anyone wants to raise their hand, and they can, we'll ask you to unmute. Sure. While we're waiting, I would say, Eric, I have been part of a collaborative display. It was Star Wars, but it was, they were all individual scenes, and they were just put in order of the movie. We've done that before.
So that's an awesome one that you took advantage of an existing story, and that ropes the viewers in right away there because they know the story, and then they can go, aha, look at this creative genius to render this in a new media, that's a really cool thing. So did we get any takers here?
No, I didn't see any hands raised, and I know this is the after lunch crowd, so.
Well, don't worry. We'll have some more time to rope people in at the end after we run the video. So so we picked Dr. Seuss as a display scene, and it offers pre-existing stories that could be collected together, and each person could build something from a given story without any sort of complexity of making the plates attach together, making the scale the same. And something that turned out to be a big advantage this year was that once you're doing something like that, where someone is, individual builders are building things that don't have to lock together, they can make them themselves. And so when you have the pandemic that keeps us from getting together and putting our stuff together, you can put the display together anyway. One thing that we found to be a challenge with Dr. Seuss is that Lego is really heavily square or rectangular at least, and you have to use some creativity to render that curviness. So with no further ado, let's cut over to our video that one of our members, Paul Sinison, put together of different amateurly shot, at least in my case. My son with his iPhone shot some pictures of me, but Let's see what we got.
Hi, I'm Adam, and this is my mock of Yertle the Turtle by Dr. Seuss. Yertle the Turtle was the king of the pond on the faraway island of Solomon's. Yertle the Turtle was the ruler of all he could see, but he said, "I don't see enough. That's the trouble with me." So Yertle the Turtle lifted his hand, and Yertle the King gave his command. He ordered 9 turtles to swim to his shore, and using these turtles he built a new throne. He made each turtle stand on another one's back, and he piled them up in a 9-turtle stack. And then Yertle climbed up. He sat down on the pile. What a wonderful view! He could see most a mile.
This build is based on the Dr. Seuss book Marvin K. Mooney, Will You Please Go Now? And we have at the base here the main character, Marvin. And in this book, the narrator tells Marvin all the different ways that Marvin can be on his way. Here we have the crunk car, and the narrator tells Marvin, you can go in a crunk car if you wish. And another of the fantastical ways that Marvin can go is via the Zumblezay, our elephant here with the crazy Dr. Seussian carriage hooked up to it. And Marvin is also told that he can go on a Zyke bike if you like. And there's the Zyke bike. And Marvin's also told if you like, you can go in an old blue shoe. And there's Marvin in his old blue shoe.
Hi, I've done a scene from the Lorax, and this is one of the pages in the books I used as my guide. This is my build. You can see there's lots of colorful truffula trees. This is the Lorax. He speaks for the trees. Got a pond with humming fish and a swami swan. And there's also swami swans flying around the top of my build, if you can see them there. These are the barbaloots eating barbaloot fruit. And that's my build.
Hi, I am Eric, and I am not Sam. Here is a brickhead, Sam I Am, from Green Eggs and Ham. Next we have, most famously, the Cat in the Hat, with Thing 1 and Thing 2, and the fish, or the fish bowl on the umbrella. Then we have the Fox in Socks with a stack of blocks. Now we have a star of two Dr. Seuss books. Horton the Elephant, who is the star of both Horton Hatches the Egg and Horton Hears a Who, and there's the flower for the who. Now we have Bartholomew Cubbins from the 500 Hats of Bartholomew Cubbins. Then we have the Grinch and his faithful dog Max from How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And one of my favorites, we have Sylvester McMonkey McBean from the Sneetches. And there he is with a star-bellied Sneetch and a Sneetch with no star. Then finally we have the Lorax with his truffletries, who he speaks for.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And the Thneeds.
Hi, I'm Adam, and this is my mock of Thidwick, the Big-Hearted Moose by Dr. Seuss. Thidwick was such a nice guy, he let all of the other animals freeload on his antlers. First, there was the Bingle Bug, then the Tree Spider, then the Zinazoo bird family who set up a nest, and even the Uncle Woodpecker and a turtle. Unfortunately, Thidwick was such a nice guy, he didn't follow social distancing guidelines and got sick. You can see he's got a runny nose. Look at that snot on his nose. And he's got a fever. Poor Thidwick. I hope you get better soon.
I made a scene from 10 Apples Up on Top by Dr. Seuss where the dog and the lion are skating around the room. So there's the dog, there's the lion, and there's the tiger, and they all have apples on their head.
Hi, my name is Leah Von Dam, and this is my Horton Hatches a Who mock. As you can see, I decided to make the base a book, since the story is obviously from a book, and I made it growing out of it. And as you recall in the story, it's about a mother bird who's sick and tired of sitting on her egg and wants a vacation, and she convinces a naive elephant named Horton to sit on the egg for her. And as you can see, he's sitting on an egg and she's ready to go on vacation. She's got a suitcase in her mouth, and I put her on a little swivel plate so that she can fly out of the tree more easily. And you also recall in the story that Horton is so heavy that he bends the tree over with his weight, and he has to put some support in to keep the tree from completely collapsing from his weight. So I included that as well in my little scene. There you go. And I'm just gonna like slowly turn this around and hopefully I don't break it. This is very awkward with a phone. So this is the whole thing here. I used snot techniques to build Horton. And I used some technique in the actual branches of the tree, and I'll show you how I did those in a moment. They're really simple, but I think we're really effective in this. Okay. All right, so, oh, and I also put hinge plates on his feet, so it looks more like he's sort of crouched, sitting in the nest, as opposed to just sort of standing on the tree. So the way I made the tree was by using this really simple design. So basically I have it clamped to the tree using one of these, which allows it to be more floppy. So that way the tree could really flop onto the support. And then for the branches, I used these pins because they allow the branches to stay more solid and not fall over. You can also get them in a better position. So that's why I chose to do that way. And I think it worked really well, and it seems pretty strong. So, and it definitely supports his weight because he's a heavy elephant in Lego as well as in real life. I think as far as specialty parts, I think probably the coolest part are the leaves, those are fun. I tried to include some nice floral in the jungle or forest that the tree is in. And I also, because I could, I have a little bit of Horton Hears a Who also, and that's him holding the flower. That I think is just kind of cute. And anyway, so that's my mock, and I hope that you like it. Okay, bye.
Hello, I am Adam. Sam, I am not. But do not fear. I built this green eggs and ham mock. It is big and green and absolutely 3D. It's not meant to eat, but it's still a neat feat. This mock is one of many. BayLUG has made a plenty. We know you can too. No need to use glue. You can build it in a house. You can build it with a mouse. You can build it here or there. You can build it anywhere. So this is my Dr. Seuss mock. It's made of many green Lego blocks. I do have a hunch that you'll like it a bunch.
Here we take a trip with Sam I Am and Green Eggs and Ham. A train, could you, would you, on a train? Not in a train, not in a tree, not in a car, Sam, let me be. I would not, could not in a box, I could not, would not with a fox. I will not eat them with a mouse, I will not eat them in a house, I will not eat them here or there, I will not eat them anywhere. I do not eat green eggs and ham, I do not like them, Sam I Am.
All right, that's probably. Hi, I'm Kara, also known as Minifig Chick, and I'm here to tell you the story of the Zacks, which can be found in Sneetches and Other Stories by Dr. Seuss. The Zacks. One day, making tracks in the prairie of Prax, came a north-going Zacks and a south-going Zacks. And it happened that both of them came to a place where they bumped. There they stood, foot to foot, face to face. "Look here now," the north-going Zack said. "I say, you are blocking my path. You are right in my way. I'm a north-going Zax, and I always go north. Get out of my way now and let me go forth." "Who's in whose way?" snapped the south-going Zax. "I always go south, making south-going tracks. So you're in my way, and I ask you to move and let me go south in my south-going groove." Then the north-going Zax puffed his chest up with pride. "I never," he said, "take a step to one side, and I'll prove to you that I won't change my ways if I have to keep standing here 59 days. And I'll prove to you, yelled the south-going Zax, that I can stand here in the prairie of Prax for 59 years. For I live by a rule that I learned as a boy back in south-going school. Never budge, that's my rule. Never budge in the least. Not an inch to the west, not an inch to the east. I'll stay here not budging. I can and I will, if it makes you and me and the whole world stand still. Well, of course, the world didn't stand still. The world grew. In a couple of years, the new highway came through, and they built it right over those two stubborn Zax and left them there, standing unbudged in their tracks. Thanks for watching.
Let's see. Do we get some questions?
You got a lot of comments, a lot of the elephant looks good. This is fantastic. Bravo. They love the creativity.
Thank you.
They like the Lorax made out of the real small one that was really awesome, made out of just a few parts. And their question from Zonker is, how is the Dr. Seuss collab different from organizing the Beach Boardwalk collab shown at Bricks by the Bay 2019?
Yes. In 2019, it was a situation where things had to fit together, which is a little bit more, could be a lot more complicated. You may have to like sketch out like a plan, and then you have to like, how do I adjust it if one part doesn't show up or a new part shows up that you weren't expecting? So that's a little bit more complicated. You have to have the same scale, where in this particular case, we had different scales. You know, we had minifigs, we had we had brickheads, we had Maxi, Thidwick the Moose, our sculpture scale. So that gave people a lot more latitude. And you know, the thing with building a display that you have to all lock together one way or another, it's entirely possible you're stuck in a situation where the first time it goes together is when you're putting it on display and you have to do surgery. You have to, oh, got to rip something out and replace this with this. And, you know, there's some creativity there, and I've seen people come up with great things on the fly. So they adapt.
So there's a question. What guidelines did you give your fellow BayLUGs for doing the mock? Was there any guidelines I think it's probably like in size or scale or whatnot, since they were all standalone?
In this case, we had a wiki where we said, you know, pick a book, and you know, it was fine for people to do more than one thing from a book. I mean, we had several things that focused on green eggs and ham. We had a sculpture scale, a brickhead scale, and minifig scale from green eggs and ham. So that was pretty laissez-faire. In the future, we're planning on more collaborative displays, and we have some where we have more guidelines. We have display planned where we have worked out street patterns. I mean, cobblestone streets with profile bricks thrown on their sides. So we have a standard, it's kind of a mill's plate with then with cobblestone streets that have to lock together, and then uh, this is a work in progress. And I may add that even the Dr. Seuss display is also a work in progress, because we're hoping to get something done by Christmas featuring the Grinch, how the Grinch stole Christmas, and then put together the village of Whoville, and a lot of snow and a sled, and the Grinch coming down, and maybe we could get some action there. Although, as from my particular experience putting in the train from Green Eggs and Ham on a roller coaster track, it just doesn't end well. It ends with a crash, but it did in the book too. So that was the whole idea.
I have another question. Mary had asked, does BayLUG do a lot of collabs for mini events, or was this only like the second one?
Well, we've done, for years, we've done kind of traditional town and train sort of collaborative displays, where someone builds a building, and then, of course, different people bring rolling stock. And that's been one of those, what I would call a Easter egg sort of display, where it's not just oh cool, that's a neat building, oh well, that's a great locomotive. Like some years back, actually before the Lego Ideas Ghostbuster set, so this was some years ago, somebody built the Ghostbusters car and built the giant marshmallow man stalking through the streets of Legoland. So, that was a great Easter egg, but there have been others, little ones that are kind of tricky and hard to see. Part of it that I built once was Legoland City Zoo, and I had a bunch of monkeys that had escaped from their cage and were out through the zoo causing trouble. So that was one of the Easter eggs for the kids to track down. So we have a long history of kind of traditional collaborative, cool trains and stuff with Easter eggs in there. But now we're getting into some, broader afield, further afield sort of displays now.
Perfect. Another one question was kind of more technical. How much time, or what's the timeline you give to your lug on when you do collabs? How far out are you guys planning?
It's been so far. It's year by year. We, some, typically we'll show it off at the Bricks by the Bay convention, and then sometime during the year we make the decision on what the theme is going to be, and then people start sending around ideas and mock-ups and mock-ups of mocks, and then so it's kind of it's been a yearly cycle. But I can see with the Dr. Seuss one, I'm not sure I really want to give it up. I think we can expand this one some more, particularly with The Grinch Stole Christmas. And Dr. Seuss is a big topic. There's I have, I don't know if you can see, oh yeah, here, it's fading in and out, but I got a stack of books here, so there's more to go.
Let's see. Are there any other questions out there? No, let's comment. Now I can see how no current questions right now, but I can see how the Dr. Seuss would be a fun. Yeah, you're right. Tackle it book by book and have fun with it. Let's see.
Uh,
No,
yeah, let me put go back to sharing screen, and I got a few closer up pictures. You know, this is one of the ones in the our little video that really quite amazed me. It's somebody. Unfortunately, Leonard couldn't make it today to talk about his display, but he really captured that curviness, and there's his. Um, he's got him up on the web at that location there, but he really captured that Dr. Seussian curviness with the Zyke bike and the elephant and the car there. And you see he's got some truffula trees. They were very popular. We had 3 sets of truffula trees. It's kind of a Dr. Seuss trademark sort of thing. This was a pretty awesome one. Yeah, I'm hoping that one day we'll get to show these off in real life.
was I wrong? Did he win an award? And if so, how did you guys do that?
What he we had a contest at a virtual contest at the BayLUG group. We will have contests frequently at our meetings, and the we had a Dr. Seuss theme for the contest, and this one won going away. It's really quite a fabulous. As you can tell, I'm really quite taken with this one. So he won that award, and you know, maybe if he brings it to the real thing when we get to do that, I wouldn't be surprised if it wins another one. I've got a couple other close-up pictures for the things that I did. So here we go. Let's see. So those are the set of brick heads. Let's see. Here's a little closer. So. You know, that was very tricky with the with brickheads being really kind of square. You know, I have to say that when I first saw brickheads, I go, "What the hell? What is this?" But then I made one, and I go, "Oh, this is kind of fun." You know, I've gotten trapped into a lot of Lego things that way. It's like, you know, years ago when I had gone into my dark age, my brother and I had Lego from a long time ago, cellulose acetate, red and white Lego, shipped from Europe by my Swedish grandmother. And you know, we built Lego when we were young, and then we left it at home. And one day, my brother, well, not on one day, 2 days, he had a couple of kids, and he came and he absconded with it. And you know, I didn't really put up a fuss because I wasn't playing with it, you know, but he felt a little guilty, which was quite kind of him. And he bought me a couple of Technic sets, and he brought them over, and my first response was, oh, you really didn't have to. What am I going to do with these? And then I looked at them a little closer, and I go, oh, well, this is really cool. They've really done stuff with this. And then, you know, there was no turning back. There's just no turning back. And, you know, once you sold that to me, you sold brickheads to me as well. Anyway, so it's a little hard to see there on the Lorax, but he curves underneath, and got the truffula trees here, which were a real popular theme. I think we had at least 3 sets of truffula trees in different places. I'm really quite fond of my sneetches over here, the yellow bird guys. It's one of my favorite stories too, because it is kind of a real lesson on prejudice that you know, Dr. Seuss taught us about the environment with the Lorax, and prejudice with the sneetches. And let's see, next one here, I have the Fox and Socks with a stack of blocks, and Sam I Am, and oh, the first one I made is over on the right, is the Grinch. and there was a Santa Claus brick head, and I think I kind of won that as a prize at Bricks by the Bay a few years back, and I put it in a box somewhere. I go, what is this? And then I thought, oh well, I'll build this. And then as soon as I built it, I was like, oh, it was kind of fun. And it was like, oh, wait a minute, I could make this green. This could be, oh, the Grinch. And then I built a Max to go with it. And, there we go. We've got and once I built the Grinch, well, there's the Fox and Socks, there's Cat in the Hat, there's a whole bunch of other guys to build. Oh, well, and there's a couple more there. There's Bartholomew Cubbins. He's more a little traditional. He's a little bit more square. And then there's Horton the Elephant. I kind of liked this guy. He turned out pretty well for a upright elephant. Yeah, that's a little bit unusual. And then the final thing I built there is I built the train on on a monorail set. It's a little heavy, or not a monorail, but a roller coaster chassis. It's a little heavy for a roller coaster. It did manage to make it down and crash though. But there's this whole kind of curviness to it that had to be captured in brick. Anyway, I think I would put out a question to the audience if anyone has anything they would like to say, as like, what would you like to do for a collaborative display? I mean, if you want to organize one, take a look at Steve Jackson's presentation, and or contact me. I'll cheer you on. I may not be able to tell you how to do it, but what do you people like to do? What something that's a pie in the sky, wildest dreams sort of thing. That it's just too big for you to build yourself, or in my case, maybe my wife says, you don't have any space to put that in. But if 90% of it's in somebody else's garage, then okay, maybe we can do that. Anyway, and does anyone have an idea what they would like to build?
Yeah, we have a few more minutes here. Looks like BayLUG might have just recruited a new member. And then Joe said his daughter is freaking out. She loves all of your Dr. Seuss figures. So,
okay. Yeah, contact me. Absolutely.
Does anyone have any collab ideas they'd like to share? And there's Joe's daughter if you're watching on video there.
And Cara is reaching out to her also, Eric.
Awesome. Thank you, Cara. Yeah. This has been a lot of fun. And honest to God, it's turned out to be an amazing amount of fun working with other people on it. And that's like, I see something that they made and it's like, I wouldn't have thought of that. And that's some of the charm of it, Even the most brilliant builders just can't think of everything, Just can't.
Someone said maybe doing Dia de Muertos or Jungle. What was that? The two things?
That's the next thing up. So what's the next for our collaborative group? So we want to add to the Dr. Seuss display, and then we put in a project support order. We want to build some unified displays. One, we're going to write our own story. We're going to have some sort of jungle adventure. Stay tuned for. It's not like we've figured it out yet. And then we're also going to try an existing story, and we're going to build the land of the living and the land of the dead. So kind of based upon Dia de los Muertos, as inspired by the the vision of the movie Coco. I mean, that the land of the dead there, or the city of the dead, is just, you know, awe-inspiring. I don't know if we can hope to achieve that, but in my garage, I'm starting to work on the Marigold Bridge that goes between the land of the living and the land of the dead. And we've got a way to go on that one, but I hope to be showing that off, you know, maybe next year or the year after. We can drive all the way to Seattle in a van or something, and you can see it in person. That's my plan. That's my plan.
All right. Well, we are out of time for this session. Eric, I want to say thank you very much on behalf of BrickCon for sharing your collab. We appreciate that. Thank you, everyone, for coming. This concludes today's session. So if you give me hit that reaction button, give a round of applause for Eric.
Thank you so much. And thank you, PT, and thank you, Paul, and Dave, too, for getting everything running. Honest to God, very, very good experience here. Thank you so much.